Today, let's learn how to care for a succulent terrarium. Now, the main thing that kills succulents and basically a lot of houseplants is overwatering. So that means watering when the soil is already wet, which means root-eating bacteria, which means unhappy plants, which means dead plants. And we don't want dead plants. So especially when the plants are in a jar like this, they don't have any drainage holes, and it's just relying on the rock bottom. So when you water, you have to make sure it is bone dry in the soil, since succulents are desert plants like cacti. But a really good way to tell if the terrarium actually needs a drink is checking the succulent leaves if they are wrinkly. If they're wrinkly and kind of soft and stuff, that means they kind of need some moisture. So water, but don't water too generously, because this thing, again, doesn't have drainage holes, so if it starts piling up at the bottom, it's going to stay wet in there for too long, which means root rot will eventually kill your plant. Now let's talk about light. For succulents, you normally need bright, direct light to mimic like the desert and stuff, where they get plenty of light all day. Because if you have it in a shady spot, they're just going to get super, super leggy and really ugly, and eventually they'll just start dying. And of course, we don't want that. We don't want ugly succulents. So for the best results, I would put it in somewhere like a south-facing window, which is the brightest around here. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, just direct light. Try to get them as much light as they can. I guess you could put them outside, but the thing is, especially in Washington, super rainy here, and that normally means setting them outside isn't a good idea, because we don't want them turned into aquariums. And if you're wondering about fertilizing, I have never fertilized any of my succulents, whether they're in a jar or not, and that's because they're were made to live in the rocky, sandy, clayey, non-nutrient soil like in the deserts, and not get much water. So I've never really had problems with fertilizing, but of course, if you want to, you can. I know there's like super specific like fertilizer pellets you can put in succulents, but it's really not a big deal. Now, with a handful of the basics, you should be able to have a happy and thriving succulent terrarium.